Hi, I'm Bo,
And I am Don.
and today we're going to talk about a very different game than everything we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Night in the Woods.
Hell, that didn't come out in the 80s or 90s or 2000s.
We didn't play this game as kids. We played this game as an adult, and that is why its message resonates so well with us. Yes, Adam, I would like a drink.
No, I'm clean.
I got to drive. Before we get into this, though, I didn't know about this. I just learned about this when we decided to do this. There's a bit of news surrounding the game.
Well, not really news at this point, but
it just happened this year. I didn't know about it.
I keep my finger on the pulse of hell, and of course, I hear about this. We're not going to mention anyone's names or pronouns because apparently that's politically incorrect and that will offend people. And when I say people, I of course mean white males because that's the only people we're allowed to. They're the only people whose feelings matter.
Right.
Apparently.
That's the message we get resoundingly from the internet anytime anyone tries to speak differently.
Someone who looks like me. Has had their feelings hurt.
Thank you 4chan for ruining everything. But
yes,
yeah,
ever since the Horus heresy.
Basically, assholes get offended when you mention these things.
Yeah, but they don't get offended. Offended is something pansies do, and they are not pansies.
Right,
They're
exactly.
very tough.
They're very tough.
Very tough.
Very tough.
I would not, if I met them in a dark alley, would not play them in Pokemon.
In this game, someone who was very intimate with the development of this game,
the co-creator,
and
music
composer,
very good composer, unfortunately. But,
this person had very severe conduct issues.
Yes,
and that's I don't want to put it lightly. Sexual harassment.
And it's not just one accusation, but several
that were
corroborated, and it doesn't make you you don't have to be a monster to do monstrous things, but there's a healthy way to remedy that behavior.
Yes,
and there's unhealthy ways to do it, and apparently he always had issues, so it's a tragedy. Yes, but the victims are not to blame for him taking his life.
Absolutely not. Like as we said, there are assholes, predominantly white males, that don't like to hear things like that. But that's what it is, and you're gonna have to deal with it. If you don't like the show, then just stop listening to the show.
Let's just nip. I think we really deserve praise for nipping this in the bud and making sure our culture, our proud, honest Western culture, is kept free of the likes of white males.
I hate them. I mean, you get what I'm saying, though.
Every day I wake up, there's one in my mirror. I call the police. He's gone when they get there.
I said predominantly, okay?
Okay.
I said predominantly.
I mean, Karl Marx was a white male.
This is the conversation.
We're not all bad.
This is the conversation you have every time you bring this up.
This is the thing about Night in the Woods, because this is us to a T. So there is still artistic value in the product, and mental illness being a big thing in the game is, of course, the big problem with this is that there's a lot of people who played this game and really connected with it, and the tragedy associated with it, it makes it, you feel awkward trying to relate to it, but those feelings that this game brings up are still valid and important, and that's coming from someone who, straight white males, it can be hard for us to say we have emotions, because then we'll be called gay.
Our brethren will gather around us and beat the hell out of us for saying it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really not that big of a deal, because we can take them. We can take
absolutely,
them.
Absolutely.
2, being gay is no big deal.
Nope.
We don't care anymore.
Nope.
It's not middle school anymore. We've grown up.
Yep.
And 3, people have it a lot worse. And I acknowledge my privilege. I can kick all their asses. I don't have a problem in the world.
So what we're talking on is already touching on what really resonated with. I think I speak for both of us. What really resonated with us in this game is that this protagonist is from a place eerily similar to the towns we grew up in.
When the game was over, I Googled all their names to see if they were from Perry County or Warwick County or Indiana. Because when this game opens, there is a cat girl. I didn't know she was a girl at first, but it didn't matter. Hey, it doesn't matter because we're all fucking human or sentient. We're going through these issues.
Actually, there's a side thing you go through where she expresses that she believes she may be non-binary. Even.
Yeah.
So and that's a real thing that people of our generation face.
Yeah.
We're no one raised us with awareness of these issues, so there's a large portion of us that are uncertain about these.
Look,
things.
like even people who are just straight, who come out of adolescence, the hell of adolescence, normal according to society, we still spent puberty paranoid that we were going to turn out the other way.
Yeah.
Like what the hell? What if I was gay? My life would be over.
And this game actually addresses these issues eerily. Like, I mean, it really. I hate being this spoke to me guy, but it spoke to me.
It did.
It did. And you know what? God damn it! Sometimes art just does that. You know?
Yeah. Like,
and you know what? Doggone it! Video games are art, Don. You know what I'm saying?
Death of the author and all that. Sorry. Oh God, that came out terrible. Okay. Oh God, I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is, everyone grows up dodging bullets, and sometimes we get hit by them. A white male will generally matrix dodge most of these bullets, but at the end of the day, we're still being shot at. Mm-hmm. Like, all right. I come out of the womb, stretch the legs. Oh, yep. White, dodge that bullet. Let me show. Oh, male, dodge that bullet. Catholic, wait. Oh crap. Oh, 2019, dodge that bullet. White caps and Ku Klux Klan are no longer in vogue. Yep, just matrix dodging all over the place. Oh shit, puberty. Am I gay? Nope, dodge that bullet.
Well, jury's still out, for some of us. But the protagonist, what was her name?
May. Mayday.
May.
Cool nickname.
We were introduced to May coming home, and she just dropped out of college, and she's coming back to her hometown.
Ooh, that's rough.
Just dropped out. I wouldn't know anything about dropping out of college.
Not dropping out, but coming back after.
I did it twice. But Don, you stayed the course, didn't you? Gave it that old college try.
I stayed through college all the way through because I lived my life according to the idea that if you do what you're told, everything will be fine. And going to college is that thing guidance counselors told you to do. And then the Great Recession happened.
See, I got the true small town experience. I got the Bo, college isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
That's the true small town. Like, Bo, some of us are just going to wind up in a fucking factory, and you're just going to have to do. And I defied them, and I dropped out twice. Should have listened to her because that's where I am. She was really smart.
Yeah. But I didn't really. But I didn't. I'm not sad with where I am. I've had to come to terms with it, but at the same time, being stuck in a dying town that you can't leave it. Especially with me, I could have left. I could have gone to one of the coasts and faked it until I made it, but it would have meant leaving behind everyone I knew and cared about. Some people can do that, and I learned very quickly that I could not. I was not one of those people.
That's a very, very Midwestern thing, and that's why my roots are here. That's why I'm trying to be. But
it's why we can have a podcast like this with very un-Midwestern politics and yet still be very Midwestern.
Because we are Midwesterners.
There's nothing else we've ever been.
We are, well, and there's nothing wrong with we are Midwesterners. It's just it's going to be a different Midwest.
Yeah. And this game starts out. You're in a train station or a bus station, rather.
Bus.
It's a bus station because there's. I'm sorry, there's a train in the background, but passenger rail. We're not allowed to have it anymore. So that's socialism. And it was good enough for my great granddaddy, but that was socialism, so we can't have it. Just like Social Security, we can't have that, or Medicare, or Medicaid.
So May arrives back at this graveyard of town.
Yeah, dead end town,
middle of the night.
Possum Springs.
Her parents forgot to pick her up.
Oh yeah, she's a little bit
miffed about that.
It's admittedly okay. I admit I'd be a little miffed too, but she takes it a little immaturely. She's not a very mature person, but that's fine because your brain isn't fully developed.
She's only
25.
like 20. Yeah, she's only like 20.
You're 20. You got some mulligans.
So there's something she doesn't want to. She defiantly decides to during the night walk through the woods to get home.
Yeah, she's just gonna do it.
And this is your first taste of gameplay, and
you do meet the mystical janitor.
That's right.
Yeah, he wants a cola, and this is a guy who is absolutely sure of himself. He's a janitor, the lowest of the low as far as the social totem pole. Even though janitors are always fucking cool. They have all the keys. They're the key masters.
And
I love janitors.
And imagine a society without them. Imagine for a moment. It's terrifying.
I would do without presidents and congressmen before I'd do without janitors.
I'm not being ironic about that either.
Absolutely not.
He's trying to get him a cola.
Yeah, and he has rigged this cola machine to give himself free colas after hours because boss makes a penny, I make a dime. Or boss makes a quarter, I make a dime. That's why I shit on the company time.
Absolutely. And we see more of him later.
Yeah, he always shows up and he's just wise. Just
very
old
wise.
And wise. He's settled into this life and he's made peace with the problems of the world.
And so May goes home.
She walks through the woods, back through. There's a ravine. There's a log from an old logging operation. Logging operation is defunct. It's not economical anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still there.
That really speaks to my hometown.
It's just lying there, rotting, left behind. May doesn't have any she knows academically that this is there, but there are people in that town who probably worked there, and when they see that, they see something a lot more potent than just a curiosity. That's something of them that was left to rot.
Yes.
We're going to see a lot of that. But May sees
and
something.
We've seen a lot of that in our life.
And May sees something. She sees a old rundown playground where she used to play as a kid. And she's like, I wonder if I can still jump up here. Cute little tutorial. Mm-hmm. Like you have to jump.
A cool little
you
tutorial.
Jump on the playground stuff. Yep, still got it. Mm-hmm. And then you fall on your face, and your aunt Mall Cop. It's like, evening, May.
Yeah, the aunt, a very interesting character. She picks you up. She's aware that you're back in town, and she's happy to see you back.
Kind of, yeah. Like just get in the car, mate. No. Do you want me to arrest you? No.
So she takes you to your folks, and you walk in, and your dad's watching that show.
Yeah, it's television.
You can watch
what we aspire to be but fail to be.
I ended every day in this game watching TV with your dad.
That's a whopper.
And the show's, I can't remember what it was called, but it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But your dad's like, oh, shoot. I forgot tonight was the night you were coming back. She's like, yeah, Dad, tonight was the night I was coming back. And he's like, you're all right. Like, you're fine. Because he's a Midwest dad.
Yeah. Obviously he's calmed down from some, we get hints kind of early on that he was
an alcoholic. Yes.
And a lot more violent in the past. But he's mellowed out now that his daughter is older, not very mature, but he's handling it a lot better.
And it's kind of an interesting thing that this game chose to narrate that as he's healing from it rather than he just failed and is a villain.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Not everyone when they have kids is ready for them, being a parent can be a learning experience.
Hell yes, it can. I have 2 kids.
I mean, I don't, but I was a child,
right?
I know parents change their strategies. The good ones do anyway,
right? There's no one hands you a book that tells you how to raise.
I mean, they
kids.
do, but they're all hacks.
And hopefully, and hopefully I mean, every parent fails. Hopefully, not to the point where they become a violent alcoholic.
Yeah.
But the idea that this dad is becoming better,
And this, like, the family is struggling, but they're still a family.
family's struggling, but they're still a family and they're still trying. And even May, in her hip, I don't give a shit, is still trying.
Yeah. She
But,
came back home for a reason. Because it's home.
Exactly. She came back home for a reason. She hates it tentatively.
But at the same
on
time, there's a
surface.
reason she can't live outside of it.
Exactly. So then you meet her mom. Her mom is a secretary at the church. This is the typical Midwest. I just want everything to work. Mom.
Yeah.
I
She's
just want
very
everyone
sweet,
happy.
kind of funny, but she's always working an angle to try to figure out what's going on with you.
And there's a subversive, like, they're not a subversive. I don't want to say that, but under the surface.
Yeah.
Under the surface, there's a
So
like.
why did you come home?
So why did you come home? And also, like, I'm the one working the hardest to keep this all together.
Yeah.
That boils over at one point, and it's a very. I think a lot of us Midwesterners grew up with moms like that because women in the Midwest, growing up when we did, put up with a lot of shit.
Because you're a woman, you're coded to not speak out of turn,
And
you're denying a part of yourself. You're
and
human.
you're denying a part of yourself to do it, but at the same time, you're carrying so much emotional and physical burden to make your family work because that's what you were told to do. When in actuality, everyone in the family
is
should be pitching in,
yeah.
and it's not one person's job. So already we're 15 minutes into the game, and already you're watching your life play out, and you're watching the worst parts of your life play out. But at the same time, remembering that these people are human beings; they're not villains. This is
cat people,
good
but yeah.
already. This is good already. So, anyway, I believe May just goes to bed this night. I
Yeah,
think
she just goes straight
crashes.
to bed. But then you wake up, and that's when you meet your mom in the morning.
Oh,
And
right.
it's actually really happy. It's happy music. Like, you're home again. The music is great. Credit to the author where that's due.
And you sit down and you eat breakfast or something, which that was the most unrealistic part. Was I think she was up in time for breakfast.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't know if she ever actually eats breakfast, though.
Oh, and you do
She
get
would-
up really late, don't you?
Yeah, I think she usually gets up at like noon or something like that.
Because the first time I dropped out, oh my god,
Oh, yeah.
1 p.m.
And then, like, your mom is really supportive at first, but you can tell there's more she wants to talk about, but she's not going to rush it.
But it's okay when you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Even though it's not, it's okay when you want to. And Dad's too busy working or something.
Yeah, he's working
um
at the deli at this point.
he works at the deli at this point when he used to have a
He
really
used to have
good
a
union,
union
job.
job.
A good union job.
It was a hard job, but the union made it worth it.
But the union made it worth it. That's a thing. My dad has thankfully had a union job his whole life, so I don't relate to the losing the good job thing. But good Lord, so many people we knew. So May goes out and about on the town.
And it's just the wonderful world of Richard Scarry.
It's a beautifully designed city.
yeah.
The music's great, and you can explore. And there's so many people you can see. And May this is her town. Everyone
is.
knows her, and she knows everyone. And
It's changed a little bit, but hell, it's still home.
it doesn't seem like everyone hates her.
No, like
Most
the
people
neighbor
pretty-
does, but there's some. He's clearly having a lot of fun hating you.
There seems to May almost seems to have a good home.
Yeah, like people remember what you did. That they're just being polite about it, and
Right.
then like everyone else, yeah, they're being polite, but they
But-
clearly consider her part of the town.
Right, and the things they're remembering is just May being a punk kid, which
Yeah.
most people
Well,
were.
except
punk
for
kids.
the incident.
The incident. Are
but-
you talking about?
It comes up later, but the first big hint is that one neighbor. Like people remember.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay,
That's just hometown polite.
That's just hometown.
But
yeah.
then the other neighbor is a lot more like, "Hey, you're still you still TPing lawns. I'm 20 now. I'm an adult. You may be 20, but you're not an adult."
Right. So and I believe this is when May reunites with her friend.
Yeah,
she goes to the Quick Stop.
She goes to the Quickie Mart and she finds her coolest friend from school. Well, not earliest friend, her coolest.
Greg.
Greg rules, okay?
Yeah, that's what she writes in her little
Yeah,
diary.
Greg rules.
Greg is happy to see her. She's happy to see Greg. Greg is working at the Quickie Mart. He's a little fox in a
Fox in a leather jacket.
leather jacket. Greg's clearly a punk.
Oh yeah.
like a punk rock punk.
And like this is the guy you meet after college. Some things never change.
And May and Greg are. But what's funny about that is a lot's changed.
Yeah.
But
He just pretends that
May and Greg. It seems something's woke up in Greg when he sees May again.
Yeah.
And these two were clearly Hellraisers. They were rabble rousers, things of that nature. Does Greg mention his boyfriend, that he's living with his boyfriend at this point, or
it comes up? It comes up really early. Apparently, they were always an item, and it was never a big deal.
But because May is like, "Oh, you're living on your own together," and it's kind of like
I've got to work for rent, and like, oh yeah,
yeah. And May's kind of like, "Well, I don't
have a
work.
job.
I'm not.
That's cool, man."
Own. Exactly. So Greg's very non-judgmental of May the whole time. A very good friend, honestly.
It's so good that you're home, man.
Yeah, and they I think they even mentioned wanting to get the they don't mention
screw
that yet.
college, man.
College, what can the man teach you? So what else happens on this day?
I think the first thing that happens is you go into your laptop, because of course you do, and it's just full of porn pop-ups. So you
got a virus.
Yeah. So you go to Greg because like, hey, is your boyfriend around? Because he's good with computers.
Right.
And like, oh yeah, he's at home. Like, okay. So you go to the apartment and you electrocute yourself after contacting literally everyone else.
Oh yeah.
To ring yourself in, and like, Greg is a little bit surprised to see you because you were not Greg. What God was his name?
What was his name?
The bear. He's got a great ass, apparently.
Yeah, that's what they always say.
But God damn it, it's been too long.
Yeah. Keep going with the scene.
Okay.
I'll find his name.
Anyway, you see this bear, and he's like, "Oh, hello, May. You were always Greg's friend, but okay. Well, what can I do for you? Well, you're good with computers, right? Can you fix things? Can you fix this for free? Okay. Here, just take this thumb drive, and it'll fix your computer. You might lose some files though."
And it's very clear from the get-go that while very polite, this guy is a little annoyed by May. That becomes very clear very quickly.
Like, he's
damn this Midwest internet.
But you
Angus
is good.
Yeah. But Greg and Angus both great characters. May great character.
What's the alligator's name?
I just had it out.
I know. I need to remember. But okay, so you take the thumb drive home, fix your laptop, and but along the way you're also exploring. You see like a bunch of guys hanging out outside the call center. The call
that is
center.
So good for Tell City.
That is.
I don't. Guys, I grew up probably about 30 miles from your guys' hometown. I was linked to it because I had family in that town. That's how I met all these guys. I worked that fucking call center.
It was the job available to us. We became the third world India of the world. B. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. That'll come up in a little bit, but. You see people at the call center talking about, hey, man, if you just put in the hours and you get your reward points, you can get a day off on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, okay. God. That's.
Did you ever work the call center?
No, actually, I got lucky. I just kept mowing lawns. Like, I choose to do this. It's not as much what money, but I'm going to wait for literally anything else.
Oh, that call center.
I need to ration my soul.
The only cool thing about the call center is you take like a 6-week course before you have to take the class. That is such easy money. That is 3 easy paychecks.
But it's just it's kind of ironic because I do a lot of cold calling now, but it's on my terms, and it's not in a call center environment, so I'm okay with it. But,
so
and
anyway,
then you also run into a bunch of other kids just hanging out on the streets, and they call you ma'am, like fucking ma'am.
And
I'm 20 years old.
Right.
Yeah, you're a grown up.
You're old.
And like you saw the kids playing on the streets you used to play on. Like, okay, you're not a kid anymore, May.
Not only has the town changed, but you've changed. You've not caught up to that anyway. But do you run into B at this point?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
I don't actually. I think the
party happens.
If you go to the hardware store where she works,
right,
you can run into her. I think. But first, you go home and
you fix the computer.
You fix the computer, and Angus has put something on there, something he thinks you'd like, something that you might be able to like. he's annoyed with you, but he doesn't hate you.
Exactly.
Like, he wants to give you a chance, and he thinks you can connect over a video game you both played in high school, and he's still playing it. And he's really happy to see that somebody else out there is still playing it, and you can play this video game with him and talk with him about it. And it's really cool because, hell, you come back from college, you reconnect with someone who is still in your house in your hometown, like, hey, man, you want to play Halo 3?
Exactly. Exactly.
Dude, I want to play Halo 3. I want to play Halo with you, man.
Because the first thing you want to do, and I can speak about this from experience, the first thing you want to do when you drop out of college is forget
Yeah.
that you dropped out of college. You want things to just go back to the way they were.
Yeah. You just want to connect with someone about something other than life.
Than the fact that everyone else is moving on while you're stagnated,
Yeah.
or so to speak.
Or at least you feel that way, yeah.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But then, like, the next day, there is that party going on. And Bay is
is it B or Bay?
B or
I think it's B.
B is driving, and she is very, very annoyed with you.
She reluctantly agreed to take you.
Yeah.
And everything you're doing is annoying her. Everything.
Oh God, everything. Everything.
And May doesn't understand why she's so upset because they were best friends.
We were best
growing
friends until like 3rd or 4th grade or something.
Seventh
like
grade.
7th grade. Okay, right up into 7th. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So you get to this party, and May immediately recognizes that there's a boy she was sweet on. And she's very embarrassed around this boy, very shy. I don't want to say embarrassed.
It's Angel Face. Fuck you, Angel Face. I wrote that song about it.
So May is drinking a lot.
Yeah, that's the proper way to handle it. And all your friends, like Greg is trying to support you, but also telling you to lay off. Like, maybe you should come over here and sit down.
And he's trying to do the cool thing, like, hey, you need to drink water and stuff like that. And and then you go and embarrass yourself in front of this. May, the player, May goes and embarrasses herself.
And she says a lot. She lays a lot of weird things out there, like a statue that just points at you. Everything is just shapes. We're not going anywhere. We never had a chance here. Tacos, bleh.
At first, it starts off with, I loved you. I wrote that song about you. And then it quickly goes into deeper things that actually bother her, not just the superficiality of like, I liked you.
Things without context, but we never had a chance here, but now I'm here. I'm home.
And then she pukes on him.
On him or
near him. And B has to take care of her.
She has to drive her home.
Because she's responsible for her because Greg and Angus have already left. And when you dislike someone, it's bad enough. When you dislike them and you have to take care of them while they're drunk, it's a horrible situation.
And especially when there's a bunch of unresolved issues.
So you get in the car and does May start to sober up on the way home? And they talk about it?
Real, kind of. Basically, she's drunk and crying a bunch because she's asking why B hates her. But I do love the text prompts because they're all very proper English. Like, and then B, we were the best of friends once upon a time. B, why are we friends anymore? We used to be so cute together. And then you bring up, oh, B, your mom is so nice. What? Your mom, she's so nice. What was it she used to call us? Mayday? Mom, because she called me Mayday. She made the cookies. Get the fuck out of the car.
Yeah, it's.
Did you forget my dead mom?
Right. It was.
And she totally did.
Yeah. So you're home. You're drunk. You're shamed. But another day happens.
Yeah, you wake up and you have your computer and your internet. You're a filthy millennial. Of course, that's important. And B is saying, hey, if you want to talk, I'm at the hardware store, I guess. And Greg is like, hey, that was really cool last night. You feeling okay? And Angus is like, hey, here's some interesting space facts.
Right.
And there's a fourth guy. One of your old crew you kind of lost contact with. Apparently he split town on a train. And but he's not talking on the web. Well, I guess he made it clear.
Last online 5 years ago. Yeah. That phenomenon. We all know that.
Yeah,
one.
the guy on Facebook who hasn't updated. Like, I bet he got it out of Tell City.
Yep. So you go talk to B.
I really like the B route. The Greg route's fine, but choosing, like, you've got friends to choose from your
To spend time
old
with,
days,
yes.
and you get to choose who you want to reconnect with on any given day. Generally speaking, you want to try to explore as much as you can.
I go B.
Yeah, I really like the childhood friend reconnection.
The childhood friend reconnection is really cool, and she's a fascinating character.
Yeah. So you talk to B. I can't remember the first thing that you do together. I think she takes you on a job with her.
I think so.
Like,
but basically, May apologizes.
Yeah.
They reconnect, and they explore what happened with their falling out.
Yeah.
And it was
like you get the band back together a little bit.
Right. You get the band
yeah,
back
you get
together.
the band back together. And like apparently Bay is new to this because she's filling in for the other friend.
The one that left
the one that disappeared. But May can either be a really good bass guitarist or a really terrible one. It really doesn't matter.
Right.
But then you then you go for pizza, but then you can choose to go hang out with Bay. It's like, hey, I got like a night job. You can hang on if you want. Then you go to this old woman's house to fix her furnace.
Right.
And she locks you downstairs, and May can fix the problem by making the furnace break again so the old woman can hear you and let you out. And then Bay is clearly exhausted from working so long. And while work is really important to her, she's clearly really dwelling on the fact that she's dwelling on things while you're just carefree chasing fireflies around.
Right.
But you being carefree kind of actually raises her spirits just a little bit.
Yeah. It's aggravating to see, but at the same time, it's nice to see.
Yeah, you're good at making a mess, May. I'll give you that.
Right.
That's right. You should really take your destructive force and put it to work. You can probably get a job in demolition. Yeah. And then the next morning you can you go home and wake up. You go home, you talk to your dad and like, hey, I'm sorry about last night. Yeah, I am too. Why don't we just forget that night happened? Hey, you want to watch TV with me? Hey, you want to move those boxes in the crawl space? Yeah, just watch TV with me. Okay. That's a whopper.
That's a whopper.
Then you go through your messages on the laptop. You fall asleep. You go through the cute cat animation of yanking off your socks and going, ah.
And does she start having her dreams already?
Yeah, right from the bat.
Right.
And it's weird because right after she gets drunk and talks about shapes, you see a weird thing pointing at her that's just angular shapes and girders.
Mm-hmm.
And she beats the shit out of everything. And at first you're like, is she just sleepwalking and causing a ruckus around town? Well, apparently not. Something's going on, though.
It is a dream, and it's you can tell it means something, but you don't know what it means.
And at the end of every dream, something big comes up and swallows the world.
Yes.
And then you wake up, and her mental health starts to degrade. She's not getting very good sleep. And your mom, she kind of picks up on that. But at the same time, she's like, so what'd you do last night? Oh, I went to go on a job with Bay. Oh, are you gonna work with her now? Oh no, that was just a one-time thing.
Right.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a job.
Right.
So why didn't you so why'd you come home? You're not pregnant, are you? No,
right.
no. Oh, come on. You can tell me if you want. I get excited about grandbabies. I was not in a situation where pregnancy happens, which could be read as mom, no, but at the same time, not in a situation where pregnancy happens. It at least tells you something about her time at college.
Mm-hmm.
And given how dark things went at the party, apparently, yeah.
Right.
That it was not a fun time for her at all.
Right.
And then you go back out and you talk with Bay again or B again.
Yeah, you could you don't have to talk to her. You can go see Greg.
You can go talk. You can switch between them. But there's a bunch of other characters. Like there's some younger kid who will call you killer because I heard you beat him half to death.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, mom told me not to talk to you. Well, are you scared of me? No, not really. So what are you into? Horror movies? Oh, that's cool. You got life figured out, man.
There's you could befriend a transient. that's come to town. That's a very interesting little thread to follow.
Oh, yeah.
A very interesting one. And you could talk to the preacher.
Talk to the preacher.
That's helping to take care of him.
Who is a very good person.
A very interesting character.
Like, there's a part in the where she's arguing with the city council who like, okay, he seems like a nice guy, but he could really get a job. Well, no, he can't. All the jobs are taken around here. Everything he's qualified for, he's not going to get because look at him.
Right.
He needs somewhere to settle down, wash up, and then maybe get a job. Yeah, we'll talk about it at the council meeting. And like I like the council members that just walk around town and have their little petty fights. And I go to a lot of council meetings, and it's pretty accurate.
Right.
Like, we need more tourism. We need more residents. We need the statue fixed up. This statue is not of a sufficient historical note. Your face is not a sufficient historical note.
I got a dick that's a
Guys, this is the speed bumps all over again.
Right.
It's just the little rhythm of a small town that's trying and at the same time not very imaginative.
Right.
But yeah, you hang out with either Greg or B again, and this time you invite B to go to a mall. The old mall. She has a car. She can take you. It's like going to Evansville for us.
Right.
And the mall has even started to fall to shit because the internet happened.
Right.
But you go to Hot Topic or Spencer's Gifts.
Or whatever it is. But
it's one of those.
You're going to jack something.
You're going to jack it. Just
and
like
this is the
time.
first time that you see a side of B's character that I really like, and it's a side of a lot of people our age. It's this. She goes to weekly meetings for the Young Socialist League, so you go in, and May's like, "Let's jack something. Let's swipe something, dude. Doesn't that sound cool? Like old times?" And B's like, "No,
that was you and Greg's thing.
That was you and Greg's thing. I was never a part of it. I don't think this is cool. Could you pull it off? This isn't right. So it's kind of neat because she's like, she's in this part where she like appreciates what business owners go through because she is in effect a small business owner because her mom died and her dad is a drunk. Her dad didn't get over it. That's another point of contention between them before they make up. Is your dad got better, your family got fine, you don't appreciate what you had. One of my favorite lines in the car, it's because it's something that I heard. It's when she's driving May back and she says, "I would have fucking killed for the opportunity to go to college."
Oh yeah, because she was going
here.
to. She was top of her class.
Yep.
All the money that was going to be in her college fund got drained because of the healthcare system.
Yep. Which is probably another reason why she joined the Young Socialist
League.
Yeah. And what I love is I go to these meetings. That is never harped on in this game. You don't actually get to go to one with her, to the best of my knowledge.
She just references it like,
she just
with that attitude, you'd probably find some purpose.
But so there's these conflicts between this. She's a good
citizen, but she's still a socialist.
And it basically speaks to something in our generation where there's a lot of us that have this crazy idea that you can reform a system without having to kill anyone or tear something down.
Or you can also just recognize that the system as we have was basically built by socialists, and maybe preserving it is good.
Right.
Like a lot of the world we love came from socialists.
So there's this interesting dynamic of that character. But anyway, it's an aggravating fucking minigame in my opinion. I hate it.
Yeah, the pocketing thing. And then at the end, B says, "Look, this storekeeper has nothing to do with your little empty rebellion. Just give it back." And then like May still makes a big drama production. One day you guys are going to bring the whole thing down. Bring what down? Everything. And then he's just too confused.
And then you jack the PA and
you declare you declare yourself Sky God or Mall God or whatever.
And B is actually kind of having fun with
because you've been squirting people with water. Please, you're gonna get the cops called, but she's laughing the whole time. B, I decree that we get ice cream on the way home. Don't use our names. It is me, God Stevenson.
And so you go, and you've pretty much broken the ice with this character.
Yeah.
Greg, there's no ice that needs breaking. But
yeah, it's just falling back into the rhythm.
At this point in the game, I think, is when the more sinister effect shows up. I believe we're going to start seeing things get more tense, things get more dark, and there's something going on in this town.
Eventually, you get to a Halloween party.
It's Halloween night.
Halloween night.
Everything, yeah.
And you're part of a play, and B is like, hey, could you do me a solid? And this is one of the few things May is qualified to do for someone.
Because she remembers it so well from when she was a child.
Oh, we changed a lot of it.
Exactly.
So you kind of have to guess along with the...
Have you ever nailed it?
No.
I did. I did once.
Oh, nice.
I nailed it once. But anyway, there's this production, and May notices something
Yeah.
during this.
There's
There's
a
a shadowy figure.
And there's a kid gets picked up over her shoulder. This guy runs off. And she gives chase.
She gives chase. And does she holler out, or does she just
Yeah,
chase?
she calls out for help, but there's no one around.
No one. Yeah,
like
no
all
one-
her friends have like, hey, Greg and Angus have a date, and she can't be the third wheel to that. And B is like, God damn it, I have a Chamber of Commerce meeting. I can relate to that. Can I come? No, you really can't. You don't
Right.
want to be at this meeting.
Which is
so
really
she's
weird
alone.
that she has a Chamber of Commerce meeting on Halloween night.
Yeah, but apparently it probably has something to do because this was a Chamber of Commerce
Yes.
event, so it makes sense.
May gives chase alone, and does she get the kid? Does she recover the kid?
No. The
That's
kid
right.
the guy runs off, and it's like the Silent Hill thing. You're chased, and there's a fence. How did they get on the other end of that fence?
Right.
Then your Aunt Mall cop shows up, and you basically just, and rather than say something, I believe someone was kidnapped, she says, there was a ghost, it stole a kid. Go home, May.
Right.
But then at the next day, she actually did follow up on this. The only thing she says she found was some early deer hunters and some kids. But other than that, nothing. Nothing up there. Absolutely nothing.
Not a thing.
Nope. No evidence of anything like that. But she's not leaving this be. So you go to your friends, all your friends this time. Even Angus is in on it. And like they're all just kind of humoring you. Like, okay, May, what did you see? There was a ghost, and it stole some kid. Like, that doesn't sound right. Are you sure you saw that? Remember how we found that arm? Okay. I forgot about the arm. The first day you get back after the pizza place, there's an arm. A severed arm, and you just poke it with a stick until the cops show up.
Right.
But okay, I guess we'll just like share. Oh God, what they even the term they used is share custody. Shared custody of May, the immature friend who's still a part of the friends group.
Right.
And they're hanging out in Greg and Angus's apartment. Like, okay, I can take you to the library. I like to hang out there anyway. We'll look up legends about ghosts. Angus is like, hey, we can head out to this Rocky Point. I used to camp there as a scout. And Greg is like, is there a crimes one? Yeah, we can break into the historical society. We're going to there. We're gonna you don't have to break in there. It's open during the day. We're going at night.
Oh, and that's kind of their thing. Crimes.
Be gay, do crimes.
So the B one, you go to the library.
Yeah, and I was huge with this. After hours library, microfilm machines. Old newspaper articles. It's so fun. You get out a little roll, you scroll
loves
through.
microfilm machines.
Yeah, I love microfilm. That's gonna be my boomer thing when they go away finally. But like the whole time, like May demands the use of the scroller, and that's not how microfilm works, but it works for the game.
Right.
And you just scroll through these, and there's and you see one newspaper article about a strike where a boss gets the shit beat out of him. It's a happy story. All the miners take a tooth, and they use that as an oath to keep the union alive. That's cool. Keep that.
That's very cool.
That's actually very important for the story.
This is a very pro-union podcast.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed,
we're going to unionize, and we're going to tell Adam what's what.
my dad's was your dad a union man?
No.
My dad is a union man.
We benefit from unions, but we don't accept their help. I do, but I favor my mother.
So I didn't mean to bring up sore stuff.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
the big
is a
thing.
cool story.
The big thing. There's a miner who died under mysterious circumstances. So now B is like, oh, you want to go hang out? My mom's buried there. I've been meaning to visit her grave anyway. I can take you out to the cemetery. It's pretty cool at night anyway. So you go to visit the cemetery with B, and yeah, I love this part. You hear some spooky music, and there's some silhouettes by the caretaker's shack. It's just teens.
Right.
It's fucking goth kids. And they're like, before you pass, you must tell us a secret. And then B is like, when and like, okay, what secrets do you want? You must tell us the forbidden secrets of your darkest hours. Have you ever done it? 13-year-old goth kids, I love it.
Oh, and that's the best part of like Midwest goth kids. We have them, but they're still just punk ass Midwest kids.
You don't have internet, so like, you don't have sex ed. That's for fucking sure.
No.
Like you kids know this, right? No.
We did at the junior high I went to, but there was like an opt-out thing that you were strongly encouraged to take.
Yeah.
They were like, so you need to show your parents in case they have any religious objections to how the human body works.
Anyway, apparently, this is where we first get the hint that B and May had the outs in the 7th grade because she apparently did, in fact, do it in 8th grade. And then May is like, how did I not know this? We weren't talking.
Right.
And you can pick several terrible stories for May. And one of them, I think, was she meets a cute girl in college and thinks about asking her out. But then when she says, hey, she immediately barfs and then falls backwards into a trash can. Right. And then the goth kids are like, this is awesome. You may pass. And then you commit a literal vandalism because you find the grave and
of the Union guy.
Yeah, of the Union guy. And Bay is like, I had to check on my mom because we couldn't afford, after her cancer treatments, we couldn't afford a proper plot. So she's in a sinkhole-prone area. I want to make sure she was still there. And then May immediately starts jumping on this guy's grave to try to taunt his ghost. And this causes a sinkhole to happen. And they fall into the grave. And then May immediately says, guys, come on, we got to open it. We got to open it. And B is like, dude, we've already fucking vandalized a fucking grave. Okay, let's open it.
Okay, let's open it.
And then there's like a jump scare where you see the skull like, oh, and it does have a hole in its head. It does have a mysterious hole in its head, but it's not important. What is important is that someone was watching you. And you run off. May is convinced it was a ghost because it looked just like
the ghost,
the kidnapper. Kid. And Bay is like, it was probably the caretaker responding to vandalism.
Right.
And like, wow, guy, why won't anyone believe me? And same thing happens with Angus. Angus is like talking about his time with Scouts and being gay in a Midwestern town and how he wants to get out.
In horrible abuse from his parents.
Yeah.
Like being locked in a closet or something.
Yeah. And he talks about his outlook on life because he prayed a lot. Mm-hmm. And he decided there was no God. Mm-hmm. And his cosmology is really cool. It's like, I believe in a universe that doesn't care and people that do, which is just so fucking good.
Yeah.
And like you find like if you do a mini game throughout the town, you'll find letters that are like on little propellers. If you spin them, they fly away. And apparently the wind all carries them to this part where you're exploring. And Angus will say, hey, I remember these things. We did them in Scouts to talk about wind currents. We left little notes on them. What does this one say? It says, I am very, very gay. That might be mine. From 5 years ago. And then, like, of course, you see that silhouette again. Mm-hmm. And it chases you. And then Angus is shook up, but it was probably just a poacher who we surprised. Oh, come on, don't do this. And the same thing happens with Angus. You're at the Historical Society. You find a weird room with a painting of a black goat. Then you get chased out. And then he says it was probably a security guard. And then you have one more day where I think...
never mind, keep going.
I think you have one more day where you really put the pen in either relationship. like you go with B to a college party because this is as close as she's ever going to get to a college party, and she's with one of her other friends from high school that she made after you, and this friend is very protective of B. She doesn't like you at all.
Right.
With good reason, because you immediately let on that B is not in college, and all the guys she was trying to hook up with are now making that the center of attention on her being.
Right.
And she's ashamed and runs off, and then you run off after her, and she vents everything. You dropped out of the one thing I could never have and want more than anything. I would kill. I kind of hate you for. I'm always going to kind of hate you for that, but and then you just kind of bond like we're stuck together, but we don't suck together.
Have you gone over what caused the falling out yet? Have we discovered that? I don't remember.
I think it was just like growing apart.
Growing apart, yeah. I mean, that happens when you're kids.
Yeah, like she started hanging out with Greg, I think.
And or I think if you go with Greg, that's the date where you third wheel.
Yeah,
go to the donut
where
shop.
you go to the date where it was and Angus is obviously
Angus
put
is
off by
really
this.
mad. He's mad because it was supposed to be their date. And May is mooching. She's mooching. She's third wheeling. And at one point, she goes to the bathroom and absolutely tears the shit out of it because she's in one of those modes where she's just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck everything. And she tears up the bathroom. And then she comes back out and she sits down. And Greg finally lays the law down. And then Greg softens up a lot.
Yeah.
And Angus is like, no, I'll handle this. I don't want to strain on your friendship. I'm not like her best friend.
Yeah.
I'll handle this. And he's basically like, look, it was our day. We're building a life. We're moving out. We've been saving every dime. We're moving to a town that's a lot better. It's a lot more welcoming of a gay couple.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone else is growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also had a conversation with your mom by this point. It's just one of your conversations around the house where your mom's like, yeah, I got to pull extra hours. And May's like, oh, why do you have to pull extra hours? And she's like, because
legal fees.
Well, that and she even mentioned, she's like, well, you didn't go to college for free, even though you dropped out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bomb where it's like, I am owed an explanation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to push it, but I am owed one. And everything's kind of coming to a head where like, you know what, May, we're all glad you're back, but life's moved on. And you're going to have to move on. And everything's coming to a head. All this shit with the ghost is happening. And May's not mentally healthy.
Mental state is obviously deteriorating.
And it's God, it's relatable.
Yeah.
It's such a good story.
And I do like the way that the Greg and Angus route ends because you finally put a little pet project. Throughout Greg's story, you've been collecting parts for a ridiculous project that Angus kind of tolerates, but at the same time doesn't. He wants it out of his house.
Yeah.
And he agrees to go with you to leave it somewhere where kids would find it. And like, hey, it's time to let the legend leave the legend to rest. But you and me will always be legends.
Right
on. And you'll come visit us, right? Yeah. And that's a good place to end it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
but
things are kind of coming to a head with the mystic undercurrent of the game as well.
Yeah.
So you've been chased out of the historical society. All that stuff happened that night.
But the last place you go to, May blacks out, and you get brought back to Greg and Angus's apartment, and you all reconnoiter and like, hey, what happened? I haven't been able to sleep. I keep having these dreams. I keep seeing things. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I need to go out there and figure out what's going on. It's out there by the old coal mine. What? There's nothing out there, May. There's not. Like, I'm going out there. Well, you're not going alone. And you go out there, and all your friends are just they're being supportive. And you see B, she's got that cigarette. She's so cool, and you just see the ember in the light, and you get the cool, awesome music. And then you hear something. A bunch of guys, a bunch of older men, and they're saying like, "Hey, you left that fucking arm outside the fucking diner. You knew what was going to happen. We can't have these slip-ups, Rick." And then he's screaming in anguish, like, "Come on, man, we'll make it quick. No, please, please."
Right.
And then May makes a noise, like, "Oh my god!" And then someone in the crowd looks up and says, "May Borowski," And then everyone runs. And there's a running mini game, and you hear a shot, and May falls off a cliff. Everyone else makes it, and she stays in the woods, limps back into town, and it kind of like she goes through several visions where people are like reflecting on her life, like she's having a funeral. But then she wakes up at home, and then she wanders immediately back to her friend's house where they are holed up. Like they're hanging out with Germ, the cute little bird kid, who is younger than them all, but is so weird
that he just sort of fits in. That's very
we had those kids.
Very and he's playing an older video game, and someone's like, I can't believe you even know what that is, and he's like, I play it all the time.
We connect with this guy.
But May shows up.
Yeah,
and they're all holed up, and Angus is like cooking. Greg's like, hey, you don't have to do that right now, and Angus is like, no, I'm processing.
Yeah, this
is to keep my hands busy so my mind doesn't go crazy,
because they know there's a cult. And they don't want to.
Everything they've been telling May she's crazy for thinking is true.
And like you can really see the friend group coming together because like B, they're all doing something. Angus is doing something. The only thing he knows how to do. And when May shows up, they're surprised. They let her hang out. B gets on with her mom, like, "Hey, don't worry, she's here. She's fine. I'll bring her home in the morning after she slept. She's really tired." And then in the middle of the night, you hang out with. You sleep with the friend that you connected with the most, and she lays out what happened with the incident at college and with the incident. And she was playing softball. Like the day before, she was playing a video game, and then she was just in a bad headspace, and she was really involved in this video game. But then the game broke or something, and she just realized that this game is just pixels. All these people she cared about were just pixels. And then she started to dissociate from reality itself, and all that pent-up anger that she was feeling just translated into beating the shit out of some kid on the softball field for no apparent reason. And then immediately after that, she's obviously told to go to a doctor. But this is a Midwestern town. There's no psychological doctors. Mental health is a stigmatized thing. So the doctor just says, here, keep a note, and don't think bad thoughts. And then if you talk to B, like, that sounds like terrible fucking advice. There's words for what you have, May. You're not broken. And like, you don't understand. I went to college and I would either eat a whole pizza at once or nothing at all. I couldn't leave. Every time I stepped outside, I just see that fucking statue. It's pointing at me, and it was just shapes. It was like that softball field, and I was just going to do it again. I needed to come home because this is at home. Everything's real. And like, okay, and then you finally get that masterful understanding with your friend about what happened, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you head back out there. Like you basically say goodbye, but I can't function like this. I need to face whatever's doing this to me, because you have one more dream, and there's a big cat monster saying that I am not God. I am not this God you're talking about. Little creature, you're not important. The universe is ending, and there's no one that's going to remember it. And then it just fucks off. So you go back out to where you saw the cult, and you do so alone. Then your friends show up, and Greg has a crossbow because he's just awesome.
Right.
And like, hey, we're not going to let you do this alone. So you go into the mine, and you face off with one of those cultists, and you shoot him. You chase him into the mine, and then you then you see a lamplight. It's on the edge of a chasm, and then one of the cultists says, "I wouldn't move one more step forward if you want to live. What are you gonna do? Shoot us? No, you'll just look." Oh shit, that's a fucking bottomless pit. Yeah, it's a bottomless pit. Like, kill them. They shot me. You shot at them, Carl. Look, I think we got off on the wrong foot here. You see, it was old man Smithers who first found it. They shut down the coal mines, so we went back here to try bootlegging. We didn't find coal. We found something else. See, his partner, he fell in this hole. He called down to him. He didn't answer. Something else did. You've heard that voice too, haven't you, girl? Those he takes a liking to, they get a shining. They can do things. I know you've heard that voice, girl. And like, what the fuck are you doing? We're like, well, we started out, we just, all the people who weren't part of our community, the transients, the no goods, the lazy people, all you kids, you're fine. We're just taking out the riffraff. We feed people in this hole, things start to get better. Jobs come back. Kids will stay here. Brings kids back. Brought May back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It keeps the town, like we're feeding our future into this hole to keep what we have.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
We got to keep the coal furnace going.
And the fact that it's in an abandoned coal mine.
An abandoned coal mine.
It's ridiculous.
Or copper, maybe. I don't know. But it's an old
It's
mine.
an old mine.
That has been tapped out and they can't move on from it. And
it's the GE factory.
Yeah.
In Tell City.
Can't move on from it.
But
then they let the bomb drop. Wait a minute. Our friend, he was nothing. You know what? He was getting into business with his cousin. You know what happened to his cousin? They had to go out into biohazard suits to pick the parts of him off his lawn. Meth lab. He was going nowhere. That's where he was going. At least this way, he served a purpose.
That's right. Yeah.
And they are, and like B is just like at this point, they use a conservative trigger word, a Rush Limbaugh term, to describe no goods, welfare queens, immigrants taking our jobs, government regulating everything out of existence, and B just starts like, oh, fuck you.
Right.
Okay, boomer. Like, you kids want to die? Shut up. Okay, fuck you. Grumbles under her breath. Like, so what? Is this your pitch? You're trying to sell us on this? Yeah, I mean, we keep feeding the old black goat down there, and we can live for a long time, but we can't live forever. We need new blood. You kids can run along now, but remember, we don't know. You don't know who we are. We know exactly who you are.
And you don't ever get verifiable identities on any of these.
But there's a lot of them.
And there's hints that lead you to believe certain people in town, but the game will not verify any of them. One of the suspects is your aunt.
Yeah, because you don't really see her later. But anyway,
you see her one more time.
Oh, okay.
On the last day.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, they let you go.
Yeah, but on your way out of the elevator, that one asshole who Greg shot tries to follow you, and he grabs your foot. And then this commotion on the elevator causes a cave-in, which decapitates him and traps you. Fortunately, Angus keeps a level head, like, okay, there's still air currents. Let's just follow that. And then you find that well out by Germ's house. And May is starting to feel better about herself because she blacks out. And she comes face to face with a goat who is speaking in a demonic tongue. And like, we don't know what he says to her, but May is finally seeing what has been haunting her for what it is. And the black goat kind of represents the inevitability of death and decay. The world is ending. And she's trying to hold on to, and May realizes, I can't hold on to everything, but I don't need to hold on to everything. I think it's like, I don't need this to save me forever. I need it to save me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of everything, hold on to something. And she holds on to her friends and comes back to the world. And she's tired, but she's got a clear head.
Mm-hmm. And
she puts her jumping skills to use one last time to save her friends by going out of that well. And I love the music that comes out of this well. I will say, I love the music.
Love music.
Music composer can be what he is, but it's good music.
Yeah.
And other people help with it, so they're still valid.
Yeah.
Anyway, you come out of the well, and Germ is just there, like, hey, you were hanging out in my well. You got like dynamite, yeah. You got like rope, yeah.
Yeah.
I got both those things. So he helps you out. And he even brings cokes because he figures you were tuckered.
Right.
You're good. You're a good man, Germ.
I love Germ. And you blow the
you blow the well.
You blow the well.
The only other way you know of that's out of that mine.
Out of that mine.
And Bay is like, "Are we murderers? what? No, it was self-defense. And Angus is like, fuck no, that was self-defense.
Right.
Fuck those assholes. So we just murdered a death cult of conservative dads, which is the exact words they use.
Uh-huh.
And then the next day at the band meeting, you just kind of reconnoiter with your friend that you've connected with. And it could just be B, like, we're both going to live here for the rest of our lives, probably, but at least we're together.
She even mentions, what's really weird about it is the B ending. It's really weird because she's like, I don't think, out of nowhere, she's like, I don't think Greg and Angus are going to last. Like, Angus is too level-headed, Greg's too wild.
And once Angus gets to a big city, he's going to have options.
That's basically what, and she kind of mentions that, like, they were only together because they were the only two gay people in this town.
Mm-hmm.
And then May's like, that's a horrible thing to say, but it's just a weird, it's because, and I almost everything in a narrative serves a purpose for that narrative. And I've always wondered, why did she say this in that ending? I don't know if it's to reconfirm
that she's still cynical about everything.
That she's still cynical about everything, or or if it's just to reconfirm kind of the game's whole premise of that, like, yeah, everything's gonna fall apart, but it's okay.
Like, there's a lot of, like, there's nothing can save you forever, but there's a whole lot of things that can save you today.
Right.
And that's a really good message.
That's a really good message because, of course, I mean,
May and Bae make arrangements to, like, let's go on a road trip. Like, not this year, but next year. Something to look forward to. Like, don't you have a thing where you have to be at home, or else your condition? Like, I think you're home enough. B, like, oh wow,
right. And then, yeah, it's actually a sweet moment.
Yeah, and then like Angus and Greg come in and they're like, okay, so we're just what's gonna happen? I don't know, but let's just get pizza.
Yeah, okay. It's not like this happy ending where May's like, I will go get a job or something. It's just like hey, it's fine for today. And you could talk to your dad on the way to band practice.
Yeah,
and your dad found out that that tooth incident, his dad was involved in that.
Yeah.
And
like he was talking about, I really don't like my job, kid. Like, we really need a union. Like, hey, that tooth, that's what that is. Hey, if we form a union, will you come out and pick it with us? I will breathe fire, Dad.
Right. It's basically
it's a good bonding moment.
Yeah, it's a good bonding moment, and it's basically your dad. It's sort of him grabbing onto his legacy and his future at the same time, and or his past and his future. His legacy and his future would be the same thing.
And your mom, right before you leave that day, she says, "Hey, you've been through a lot. Can you just stay home tonight?" Yeah, and we'll stay home tonight. We'll have dinner, and I'll tell you why I left college.
Yeah.
And then you look in your notebook and you meet the janitor, and he says he lets on a lot of information, like, who is this guy? Like, ain't that the way? Sometimes you can't broke, you fix everything. You can fix a lot. Like, I could be a janitor and really enjoy it, and that's like a little note she makes in her.
Yeah,
like, and that's a good thing.
And on your another person you can run into is your aunt.
Oh yeah,
band practice, and your aunt says one of my favorite lines from the game. And it's so this whole game, Possum Springs is Tell City.
Yeah.
It's Yankeetown. It's Boonville. It is closed off from the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely closed off. But through the game, the call center, these problems, these problems are here.
Mm-hmm.
And your aunt says something that just really, it's the line that struck me most in the game. And she says, May, you need to be more careful out there. And May's like, what are you talking about? She's like, you need to be more careful. Another hint that she's a part of the death cult, because they never said, hey, we're all here right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is a meeting we called everyone to. But one of the things she says, May, the world isn't out there. It's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So May, this whole curtain of safety she's built for herself around this town is like, no, that the everything's here too. This is the world, and she said the world ain't out there. It's right here. This is the world, and I think it's cool because May completely dismisses her.
Yeah,
and it's like, because it's like, that's fine. It's just like when she told B earlier, like, you're home enough. Like it's just a cool moment, and it's kind of it's kind of like May's finally made peace with it. Her aunt's like, no, you're still scared, and May's like, no, I'm not. I'm fine. I'm fine. And it's just a really cool moment, and it just sort of speaks to basically the world. It's poignant that her aunt would say that after giving us a hint that she's part of this cult that doesn't want the world there.
Yeah.
But even she knows it's coming, no matter, and it can like you've been saying, it can take over the small town and run it over, or the small town can adapt to it and, become a part of it.
Yeah.
But it's just incredible how much this game. Yeah.
I love how little the town actually changes and yet how much it changes depending on how much you interact with it. You can become the rat queen. You can feed baby rats, and then they overrun the old grocery store. Right. You can run into weird musicians who have nothing better to do but hang out in abandoned places and play music, and like, hey, there's this other guy doing that. You guys should play together. Yeah, maybe we will. At the end, they're playing together, and they're playing the little theme song to the game.
The transient we mentioned earlier, we should mention this.
He's
a victim of the cult.
Yeah, like he says he's left, but he says he was leaving.
But it's very clear that the cult got to him.
Disappears, yeah.
And one of the conversations you have with the preacher is that she doesn't really believe in God.
Faith is a process, is what she says, which is a very healthy way of looking at it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
but
she
it's
doesn't
also
outright.
not what May wanted to hear at that particular moment.
Because May wanted affirmation of a belief that the system that she grew up in or something, and May gets really upset. She says, "You tell these people every week that they need to believe this, but you don't believe in this." And the preacher's like, "That's not what I said."
Yeah. Like on my best days, I believe.
Yeah. Just so many we could probably do several deep dive podcasts even on the characters of this game, but that's not necessary because you know what? This is good enough for today.
Like that one mouse girl that called you killer from the beginning, and you can develop a little friendship with there. Like even if your friends move away, you can make new friendships.
Yeah, it's and that's a neat thing. In that I really enjoyed the game. It really and you know what? It's okay. It's okay for games to speak to you.
It's okay to it's okay to talk about feelings other than feigned superiority.
Right. It's okay, and it's okay that a game speaks to people that are different than you. It is okay that a game represents a spectrum of humanity.
I am tired of all these white males talking down to us Midwesterners.
I'm not going to let the white male aristocracy.
I'm not going to talk.
Tell the working
the
man.
Elites. Tell us working men how to feel.
But video game, and I think video games are a very interesting way to sort of break that mold.
Only way because we're millennials and we won't talk about TV.
Actually, I'm overwhelmed by millennials that talk about TV. I don't like TV. I like video games.
I haven't watched TV in a long time.
The Mandalorian, though, is so good. Watch The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing that later. Is that TV?
Yeah, it's a television show, Don.
Okay.
Is that TV?
The TV. I'm letting my boomer come in.
But
I'm gonna have to adapt. Need to make some younger friends. Keep a level head.
I think the point of this podcast can be summed up in one sentence. Coal is unsustainable.
Black goat.
He
doesn't talk to you. He sings.
I also like that it's the black goat. Like they didn't see it, but it's the black goat. Like
it's buried deep in the earth, ancient beyond your reckoning. It will give you temporary solace, but it will kill you in the end.
If you want to hear more reflection on how much we relate to animal people in video games, and how it related eerily to our growing up and mental health issues and being a Midwest kid that's just supposed to suck it up and play baseball. You actually had to play baseball, didn't you?
Yeah, until doctor kind of said he can only take so many hits to the face.
My dad was a high school athlete and resents youth athletics, so I didn't have to. But thank you, unironically, thank you, Dad.
Good dad.
I don't think that he's going to listen to these because
Dad, he's too good.
He might actually download them just to be like, I'll give the boy a download, but he's not going to listen to them because it's not
decent.
Led Zeppelin. Decent,
last
decent.
word of the game, decent,
very decent. Nice.
Let's get pizza.
Nice. So this is Bo
and Don,
and if you want to hear more of that, like this, subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell. We say hit the bell. What the fuck is the bell?
It's the thing at Long John Silver's that you.
That's Arby's.
Long John Silver's has one too.
What?
I like
how vindictive. Like, excuse me.
I've had this. I've had the stature for a while. I was.
But
yeah, you're right. Arby's has one.
If you had the best meal of your life, go and hit that bell.
The Edmund Fitzgerald had a bell and it didn't save it.
Adam tells me if you hit the bell or something, like you get notifications on your phone.
Well, hot damn.
He's nodding at me. He's like refusing to talk. Whatever. I'm in a weird mood because we talked about that game. So
Adam has actually
we
been
need
dead
to come
for
up
10
with
years.
an upper. Adam hasn't been here for 40 years.
This very night.
We need to pick an upper game for the next one.
Katamari Damacy is a game I never played.
Oh my god. Adam, cut
Deadly
it.
Premonition.
We're going on. Oh, Deadly Premonition is a big upper. Cut it. We're done.